Hey everybody, it's me Stacey, licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard, brand ambassador for Royal Talents, and owner of Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com, a small independent retail store here in Canny Country, California that also has an online site as well. Hello everybody, and welcome to today's In the Studio with Stacey. We are week 2 into September, and September is all about FineTech watercolors, like the most beautiful pearlescent, shimmery, unbelievable sparkle. They are amazing. Now, for those of you who are joining me for the first time, I am Stacey, and I am the owner of Scrapbooking Made Simple, and our In the Studio with Stacey classes are designed to take product from the fine art world and pair it with product from the paper crafting world, because that's the world that I come from. I am a paper crafter, I'm a maker, not a fine artist. And yet I play with a lot of fine art product because it just is superior quality, often not for a lot more money. So our classes are a month-long series of classes, the In the Studio with Stacey, where each month I pick one type of fine art product, and every single Tuesday I use that product in a different way, so that by the time we are done with the month of classes, and before we move on to the next product, you have this really solid foundation of the product we're working with. Do you love it? Are you thinking, that might be something interesting that I want to try? Are you thinking after the month-long classes, no, it was fun to watch, but it's not for me? Showing you all the different ways, well, several different ways, because I could spend a whole year on FineTech and not show you all the ways to use it, but at least with several different ways, it gives you that confidence to really step outside our paper crafting world and add some elements that are superior to what we're used to playing with. I love FineTech. FineTech is a company that is actually distributed by Royal Talents, not manufactured by Royal Talents. They are made by a company called DrawTech out of Germany. And DrawTech has been around since 1872. Yes, you heard me. 1872. That's the cool thing about fine art product, is that the length of time companies have been in business far exceeds anything that we have in our paper crafting world. Royal Talents has been around since 1899, building the same products year after year after year with the same quality, the same pigments, the same just gorgeous, amazing textures and paints and yummies to play with. And you can go back and trust that a color you bought 10 years ago will be the same color that you buy today, should you need to replace it. You've run out, now you need to replace it. And that's really what fine art is all about. It's about a level of quality, a standard of quality that is essential in the fine art world. You have true artists using these products, and for them, quality is of the most importance. Using the best. When you're painting a portrait of the president, perhaps you want to use really good paint. Maybe you want really good oils. I don't know. So today, well, for all of September, we are using FineTech, which again is by DrawTech. These are pearlescent, iridescent, flip-flop type colors. We did a flip-flop last week, and that's what they call them. Some people call them duo colors. Some people call them change colors. It just depends upon who you are. I think they call them flip-flop. And I started with the rainbow palette. I think maybe next week I might change it up, but I'm gonna stick with the rainbow palette today because I had a thought. Now that's always dangerous. When I come to work and I walk in and the first thing I say to the SMS staff is, I've had an idea, I had a thought. They all scatter. But I was thinking about FineTech and different ways of using this product and things that maybe I hadn't seen before And could it be done? I'm the girl who loves technique. I love to find different ways of using things to expand it. And I love it even more if I can take something I already own and put that in the mix to make the magic happen. And that's what we're doing today. Last month in August, we featured oil pastels. And I didn't know I was going to love oil pastels as much as I do. I say that every single month. I start off going, oh, I don't know about this. Because as a brand ambassador, I'm new to all of this. This is my first year, and I'm being mentored by Jeff, and who is like the guru at Royal Talons. He handles all of the brand ambassadors, and he is mentoring me through all of this fabulous product. So I learn, I take classes, and then I come back to you and share what I've learned. So every month I'm like, oh, Jeff, I'm not sure I'm gonna be doing, I don't know what to do with this. And he's like, you're gonna be fine. And by the end of the month, I'm like, I'm so sad we have to move on. I'm really just getting into the stride with these. And that was true for oil pastels. Did not know I was going to love them as much as I did. Did not understand their resist, how they resist, and what you can do with that resist to make magic happen. Today, I'm gonna go back to oils, but I'm gonna mix them in with FineTech, because FineTech, while you absolutely can use it on lighter shades of paper, it's stunning on black. It really is. It just, well, I'll show you some of the stuff we did last week just to remind you how phenomenal it is. But I was thinking, I wonder if. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do my I wonder if technique. And then you're going to go, oh, I know that when I showed it to somebody from Royal Talons, they're like, well, when I explained it to them, they're like, I don't understand what you're saying, Stacey. And I said, well, yeah, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to do this, and bam! And they said, I don't get it. I said, wait, let me get a sample of it. Run upstairs, grabbed a sample of it, brought it back down, and walked them through it. And they're like, oh, I actually haven't seen that before. Somebody do that. So I'm hoping that this is something new for you to make FineTech even more accessible, and using the oil pastels that you may have purchased last month. So I'm gonna tilt on down. Now, for a better education on FineTech products, always watch the first week of our series of classes each month. That's really where all the education comes in. It talks about light fast, it talks about quality of product, it talks about ease of use, it talks about what you can and can't do with the product, how the product is made. So we do that first week, and then the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, sometimes there's 5 weeks in a month, then we actually work with the product. But I'll be talking a little bit about the history of the product and the qualities of the products, how they work as we're going along. So I'm going to tilt on down. We're going to get started for today. Welcome to week 2 of September in the studio with Stacey using FineTech Pearlescent watercolors. They are amazing. All right, I'm gonna tilt on down. We're gonna get started for today. It's good to see everybody. Hello, hello. All right. So FineTech comes in 2 different qualities. There's a regular quality and a premium quality. That premium quality is, the pigment, the paints actually have real silver in some of them. It's amazing. Now, last week, we just kind of swatched it. See, look at that. It is gorgeous. And FineTech tends to act a little bit more like a gouache, which is opaque watercolor, than a traditional watercolor. It is far more pigmented than a Van Gogh watercolor, and Van Gogh watercolors do not come in pearlescent colors. You have the metallics, but you don't have all of these fabulous pearlescent colors. All the pans are hand filled. think that gives you some good samples. We did some of these last week. All the pans are hand filled. And that gives them this little, gosh, this little wavy, I'm using mine, but it gives it a little wavy look. But every pan is hand filled, and yes, you can replace just one pan. You pop out the pan and push it back in, pop out the pan, push it back in, and you can even make your own palettes. We will eventually have it in open stock. We do have open stock here in the store, so if you wanted to come make your own palettes, you absolutely could. This is the rainbow set, and there are lots of sets to play with. I thought this was a good set to start with, and it's the biggest set that we're going to carry for right now. It is absolutely lovely. Now, the pans themselves, they don't take a lot of water to get started, which is a benefit with them. You don't have to necessarily spray to get them to bloom. You can use little water, and because they are so opaque, less is more with these. It really is. Less is more. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of water to each of my pans. And I'm just going to tap in some water. And we don't dig. When we're using our watercolor, we don't scoop or dig out. Let's just add some water in here. Now, as the water evaporates, the color stays where it is. You could saturate these and not harm them at all if you wanted to, because the color's not going to evaporate with the water. They'll just become more solid again. And I am going to be playing on watercolor paper today. So I've got my Van Gogh watercolor paper. I am using black, so my black Van Gogh watercolor paper. And I'm going to use the full-size sheets. This is the 9 by 12 size sheets. We're going to use that today. And I'm just going to cut them into smaller sections. Now, last month we used our oil pastels. And this was the 24 pack, and we did some amazing things with oil pastels. I had no idea how fun it would be to use these and how easy it is. They are completely different than a soft pastel. Soft pastels love water, love water. FineTech, love water. Oil pastels do not like water. Oil and water don't necessarily mix. So we use these with mineral spirits or Gamsol and did tons of techniques all throughout the month of August during classes. But today I wanted to combine the two. I had a thought. So FineTech really does look amazing on your darker color papers. And I thought, what if we took a stencil, and in fact I think I'm going to wipe this one down because it's got black on it. What if we took a stencil and we combined our oil pastels and our FineTech product on black paper? How could we achieve that? Because black paper is going to pretty much absorb quite a bit of the color of the oil pastel if you use it with Gamsol. So let's just cut a little piece so I can show you. So if I were to take my red, on its own, you'll see the red or the orange. And if you use it just like that, the color will stay. You'll be able to see the color. But the minute I add in some mineral spirits or some Gamsol, my color fades dramatically. So how can we use oil pastels on black paper and use our Gamsol to get it to smoothen out and to spread out. Well, that's where, let's bring my stencil over and let's bring my stencil over and my paper. That's where the black and the white come in. Now, last month we didn't use the black and white very much at all. We really didn't, but I'm going to use it here today. So you have your oils, you bought your oil pastels. They're either already in your hands or on their way to you. And we did oodles of technique. Now we're going to add to it, and this time we're going to incorporate FineTech. So I've got my stencil, I've got my paper, and I'm going to start with the white because I want you to see. The white will be the easiest way for you to see what it is I'm doing. Now, as we did before, I'm not trying to color in each dot. I'm not going to sit here and color in each dot. I'm just going to kind of scribble, scribble, scribble on my stencil. With my oil pastel. And if I lift it up, you can see I didn't do such a pretty job, but I'm not trying to. I'm going to let my Gamsol do all the work for me. So a little bit of a cotton ball, a little bit of Gamsol, mineral spirits. I want to tap some off. I don't want this to be too wet, and even just a little bit is enough. And I'm going to have this melt, this white oil pastel. I've got a little bit black on here. I think I'm going to do a little bit more white because I didn't clean my stencil off great. Well, we'll end up with a gray, but that's okay. I just need you to see it so you can see what we're looking at. So my Gamsol is melting that pastel and moving it into my circles to stencil. Now last month we did this and we took Ecoline watercolor, liquid watercolors, and we played and we dropped color, but that was on white paper. I'm on black paper right now. Ecoline, not gonna work. It's a liquid watercolor. So now you can see my dots. And I wanted to do it in a lighter color before I do black so you can see what I'm looking at. Now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to tape this down really well. And I'm going to bring over my FineTech colors. I'm also going to be using a palette. So my little plastic palette, because I want to use my FineTech almost like I used my Ecoline liquid watercolor. Now the liquid watercolor I just dropped and it just moved. All of this white is acting as a resist, meaning anything with water in it is going to repel away. It's going to move off. So I wanted to play with black, but I didn't know how to get it done until I understood oil pastels and how lovely the FineTech works. Now I'm just going to do, let's just do, so I'm going to pick up some of my yellow, and I do want to get it very wet. I'm not going to get my yellow in my FineTech tray very wet, but I am going to get this one really wet. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I want to do it in, that orange is always good. I love that orange. Let's go pick up some of that orange. And so I'm going to grab some of that color. Just grab some of the color and then mix it in. And all that is water. That's all I've got in here is water. I don't know if you can see how shimmery. I don't know if I can get a light on it or not. It's just, it's like liquid metal almost. It's beautiful. Okay, so I've got that. That's good to go. Now I've got to get my paper wet because I've made a pearlescent metallic-y liquid watercolor here, and I could keep adding water to that and adding water to that. The more water I add, the easier it drops. I'm going to take my Hake brush, get it wet, and then wet my whole paper. And then I can come in and I can start to drop my color. Now typically with a stencil, we would be stenciling the dots. And right now, we're actually doing the reverse. And my oil pastel resists the water. So I wanted to do it with the white or the gray little dots so you could see that first. It's easier for you, I think, to see. And then I could come in and just let it do its thing. I'm just tapping it down into the water and kind of letting it run. And do its thing. Remembering that it's going to resist that oil, because oil and water, while they don't necessarily mix well together, they can play well together. And I'm not painting. I'm literally dabbing the color where I see water. And letting it move on its own. and just going back and forth between the two colors. Now I can come in and add some more, and I can layer on top. Right on top of the orange and make a blend. And I can layer on top of the gold. And it's just another way to play with your oil pastels and your stencils. And then when I'm happy, and I see that all my water has got some color in it, then I set it to dry. Now I did it with the lighter dots so you could see what I'm trying to achieve. Now I'm going to do it with black, which is how I would normally do it, as opposed to using the white oil pastel. I'm going to use the black oil pastel, which means that it's literally going to disappear into my paper. So let's tape down. And let's tape my stencil down. And this time, instead of using white, I'm going to use my black. And I'm not trying to color in my dots. I'm just trying to get enough pastel down that when I use it with my Gamsol, I have enough to rub in to make the dots. Because right now, all I've got are these little hash marks. And that might be cute for you. You may decide to do that. But I want to make those dots. So a little bit of Gamsol. Tap it off. Did I get anything on there? Oh yeah, I did. And then come in and you can see that I've got black on here. But when I lift my paper, you'll be able to see the outline in black. But it almost disappears into the paper. So let me lift up and see if I've done a good job. It looks like I have. Let me show you. So we started with paper like this. But now you can see where my oil pastel has been moved into my stencil to make my dots. Then I tape down and do a really good job taping down. Almost to the end of this roll. Okay, that's the end of that one. And now what colors do I want to use? Because I'm going to get those ready before I do anything else. What colors here make my heart happy? Well, I think I'm going to go with the, I think maybe I'll go with the gold and the green. So a little bit in my green, a little bit in my gold. I'm just adding some water into my palette. And then I've got my brushes. I'm just going to put some in here. And I'm going to add water. And water. And then I think I'll use my green. And whatever's left in my palette here, when it dries, all I have to do is re-wet it to reactivate it. And all I'm doing is making a liquid watercolor. Then I take my Hake brush and I get my whole palette wet, my whole paper. And you can see where the dots are. Hoping you can see where the dots are. And it's being resisted. So now everywhere I see water, I just want to dot my color in there. Everywhere I see the shiny water looking back at me, because where the dots are, those were done with the oil pastel, and it has resisted the water. So it's easy for me to see where I need to drop my paint. But by doing black on black, when I'm done, it looks like I did it on black paper. You don't even realize that there's oil pastels on here. And I just dot my color. I'm not painting it. I'm dotting it and letting it do its thing. Typically with this stencil, we would be coloring. The dots are what we would be looking at. But I wanted to do the reverse. And I wanted to do it on black paper. And I wanted to use FineTech. Oh, but how do you use FineTech with a stencil? For a different technique. Something that's out of the box. And all I'm doing is dotting. And I'm just looking for that water. I'm starting to dry over here a little bit. And again, I'm not an artist. I'm not painting. I'm letting the tools do the work. The stencil, the FineTech, and the oils. Now I'm a little, I don't know if I can get this wet enough down here to see it or whether, there we go. Just a little water at the bottom where it started to dry. And I can't paint it. I have to dab it. And then I can start working some of it in. On top. I missed a whole spot here. And I'm just looking for where the water is. Wherever the water is where I'm going. And look at it resist the dots. And when I think I'm happy, I'm going to let it sit and let all of that water evaporate out. Okay. So it's still resisting, but I'm going to let all the water start to evaporate out. Now here's the first one. And as that water starts to evaporate, so comes the metallic. Oh. Okay, let's try another stencil. Another piece of paper. And let's tape it down really well. You want to have the colors that you want to use wet ahead of time. You want them ready so that when you put down your water with your Hake brush, you are good to go. And I'm not using my stencil and stamp tool, mainly because I'm using so much water. Let's back this up just a little bit. So my black, and I'm just trying to get enough on here so that when I add my Gamsol, it moves and fills in all of my stencil, making an instant resist in black. Okay, I think that's good enough. And I've got my same black little piece of cotton ball. And I want to make sure I get into every nook and cranny because this stencil is far more intricate than our little dots. Now what I love about this is that it's not hard to do. And the results are beautiful. I love that I can flip this up, see if I've got a good stencil. If I've missed anywhere, I can come back and add a little bit of more Gamsol just to fill in any places I've missed. And that black oil pastel is going to be my resist. Okay, I think I'm good. So remember, we're starting with a piece. That looks it's just black. Now, in theory, I could be done with this and just leave it and have this as a background, black on black. But we want to take it and make it more than what it started out to be. We want to stretch it and make our products work for us and see how we can use multiple items together and how fine art product works together so beautifully. Knowing how each different product behaves allows you then the opportunity to pair them together to make them more than what they were on their own. And we all have black paper. Could you do this on plain cardstock? Yes, you could. Will the result be exactly the same? No, probably not, because plain cardstock won't have sizing. Sizing is built into this paper, and sizing is not the size of the paper, but an additive that is put into the pulp or layered on top that controls how the absorption rate of liquid goes in. So if you have a paper that has no sizing to it at all and you put liquid on it, it goes whoop, straight in, whoop, straight in. But if you have paper that has sizing either put into the pulp or layered on top, when you put your liquid on, you'll see a slower absorption rate of that liquid. And the more sizing the paper has, the longer it takes for that liquid to absorb in. The less sizing, the faster it absorbs in. So cardstock typically is not a paper that is sized, but that doesn't mean it won't work. Now, what colors do we want to do here? I want to get those ready beforehand. Let's do some pink. Well, that was red. Well, it's pink now. Get some pink in here. And some water. Okay, so we've got our pink and then maybe our purple. I don't have a place for purple. Let's make a place for purple. And I'm just going to get my purple going. So I'm going to add some water into my purple. And just get it started. And kind of make a paste out of it. Now I'm not digging. I just want to get some on my brush so that I can transfer it here. And with the purple and the blue, you're going to see some black mixed in. So don't be surprised when you put your purple down and you see some black mixed in. That's part of the color. Okay, I think I've got one nice and wet. So I've got two, and maybe we'll do the yellow because I've already got quite a bit right there. Okay, I've got 3 colors ready to go. I've made liquid watercolor out of them. Now I need to take my Hake brush, get it wet, I don't know if I have enough of my oil down. I don't know that I have enough oil pastel down. Because I can kind of see, but it's not awesome. I'm going to let that dry and we're going to do it again and see if I can do a better job. Don't want wet paper. So let's try again. I'm just going to let this dry And we might come back to it and re-wet it. Okay, and I'm going to use a new one. Lift it up. Whoa. All right, I think that looks good. We'll try again. We'll see what we get. This is a much more detailed stencil. I'm just lifting it up to see how well I've done, and if there's any place that doesn't quite have enough, I just add a little bit more and hit it with the Gamsol. All right, let's see what we got this time. Ooh, tape it down. Well, I know it starts and stops somewhere, right? Oh, this one. Good. Okay. Of course, that's the last of that roll, too. Of course it is. All right, well, we're just going to go 3 sides. I feel like that's it. There it is. All right, let's try with our Hake brush again and see if we do any better. Yes, better. I can really see my lines. I can really see my, oh, well. Look at that, I can really see my lines. and it just starts to travel. I'm looking for the water, and I'm dabbing. And it's following the lines. Look at it run all on its own. It's looking for the path of least resistance, and that's the path of the water. And all I'm doing is dabbing. Look at how incredibly easy this is. And we are using black paper. And we made our own liquid watercolor. Out of our FineTech. This is my kind of art. This is something I can do and be successful at. Look at that. I don't know if you guys can see. It's just grabbing it and running. And when I'm done and I'm happy, and now I'm just blending the colors into each other, just dropping a little bit of the additional colors. Oh, this is so pretty. Anywhere I see water, I want to add my color. All right, I think I'm going to be done. And then I'm going to set it off to the side to dry. So my first one didn't come out well. Oh, Stacey, don't run your... My first one didn't come out well. I didn't have enough of my oil pastel. Gosh, now I could come in now that that's gone. And just finish out some of the color on the side. I'm just going to leave it be. So now I'm going to let this sit. I'm not going to rotate it for you because it's wet. But here's our first one, done with the white, so you could see where the dots are. Here's our second one, done with the black. So now you've got the black dots. Nobody knows that every one of these dots is filled with an oil pastel. It just disappears. But to show you, I started with the white so you could see where the dots would be, now in the black. It is taking product you already have, the oil pastels. If you don't have oil pastels yet, they really are something special. I didn't know how special they were. And as these dry, that metallic is going to come up more and more. And now I let my paints sit and dry. All that water is going to evaporate out and leave my paints just as they are. I can take my palette and let my palette dry and then come back and add water and reactivate all of these paints. I don't have to lose any of this. Not any of it. And I took something that was so common for us. We all have stencils. But when I would do this, if I was doing this as a normal stencil, I would stencil over and I'd have the black, I'd have the dots all filled in with color. And I could do that with FineTech, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something a little outside the box, a little technique-y, so that not only could you put FineTech or pastel or oil pastels or watercolors or inks over the top, so that your dots are what's inked, or your squares. I wanted you to see how you can take that liquid metal, because that's what it looks like. It's beautiful. Make it into a liquid watercolor and use it with your pastels. So if you had red paper, you could take the red and go over your red paper and then take your gold or your silver or whatever you wanted, because the red is going to hide inside that paper. It would be just like using the black. Or if you have purple paper and you want to do purple, and then you want to come in with some of your FineTech, it's going to behave just like the black. So we have, I think, 5 or 6 sets of the FineTech available. This is the rainbow set, and this is the biggest set we will be using this entire month. The other sets are 6 packs. And yes, you can absolutely replace the color and just snap it back in. And I'm going to put the oils back up for sale because we used them today. And if you haven't seen August's series of classes, it is well worth the time. These are amazing. And what we do with them is amazing. We don't look at them quite the way an artists look at them. I look at them as a paper crafter and how I can make them work with the things that I'm doing. So here are some of the ones I did a little earlier. That one's still drying. Here, I've done a few a little earlier. Look at how beautiful. Look at how beautiful. Now, cut this down. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to make something fabulous out of this. Here, look at this stencil. That's one of the Prontes. I think these are all from Pronte. I'll put the Pronte stencils in the studio category as well. But this was from this Saturday, this stencil. And here I took a white gel pen and went in and added some white gel pen to it. Look at the color. Yum. Look at the color. So this one, I took a little bit of brown pastel, oil pastel, and did brown on the black. And this one, same thing. I took a little bit of my white gel pen and went in with it. And this one with the white dots to show you where the dots are. And then we still have this one drying. So a completely different way of using product, but showing how they work seamlessly together and how beautiful they can be. Between the FineTech and the Van Gogh oil pastels on Van Gogh black watercolor paper. So this is week two of our In the Studio with Stacey classes for September, and FineTech is pretty fine. It really is just beautiful. The colors are amazing. What you can do with them is absolutely spectacular. And it doesn't have to be hard. You just have to understand how different materials, how different mediums and paints work with each other. And once we understand that, then we can start putting them together, mixing and matching them together to make them more than what they were on their own. Do I think that fine artists do this? I don't know. I have no clue. We look at this fine art product through a different eye, a different view, a paper crafter's view, and we see what we can make of it. No, I am never going to do a portrait of the First Lady or the President or anybody, ever. But I can certainly make some magic happen with a stencil. All right, you guys, it's me, Stacey, and this is In the Studio with Stacey. It is a class that we do every Tuesday where we mix fine art and paper craft products to absolutely make magic happen. You will find all of this product at Scrapbooking Made Simple in our retail store. Hello, in Canyon Country, California. You can shop online at scrapbookingmadesimple.com. You'll look for In the Studio with Stacey, the category, and you'll find all of this. But this product is also available globally. It is. In the United States, Royal Talons is the distributor for FineTech, so you will find it at your amazing fine art stores. Your independent fine art stores will have this product, and if you have one of those stores, go introduce yourself and say hello, hello. Tell them Stacey, brand ambassador from Royal Talons, sent you. Tell them I say hey. I hope you had fun today. I could sit here and I could do this forever, but unfortunately, apparently I actually have to go to work. Oh, it's still wet. I'm not gonna move it. I'm not gonna move it. It's still wet. Unfortunately, I have to get downstairs and get to work. But what fun this was, wasn't it? Did you learn something new? Did you see something different? Did you think about your products in a different way? Do you have an idea? Go for it. It's only paper. Try. You never know what's gonna happen. All right, you guys, until next Saturday, no, Tuesday, until next Tuesday, but the next time I see you is Thursday for our New For You event, and I'm trying to think of who it is. Oh, I know who it is. So our New For You event is Thursday, 6 p.m. sunny California time, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. We live chat during that event as well, and that's where we bring you the latest and greatest from your favorite paper crafting manufacturers, all value priced to start. All right, until then, everybody, bye.